Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Toxic Mutagen Man. That is right, my friends, we have hit the point in the line where we are now getting a ton of repaints of older figures. And I'm going to be picking those up and taking a look at them to do some comparisons with the ones that were already out. But I'm starting with this one because, first of all, as you may or may not know, Mutagen Man is one of my all-time favorite Ninja Turtles villains. But also, this is one of the repaints that I like the most. I think it's some really cool colors going on here. So let's take a closer look. As you can see, he comes in that new Tales of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles packaging. I really like the colors and everything that are used on these new boxes with the blues and everything. They're bright and vibrant and they really pop. They stand out from the rest of the figures on the shelf. You can see they did give him a new name for the repaint, calling him Toxic Mutagen Man. And we can see the figure there in all his repainted glory. Flipping this around to the back side of the box, we've got this really great image of Mutagen Man from the cartoon series. And down below that, we've got a look at several other figures from the line, none of which appear to be new. We've seen every one of those before, so no surprises on the back of this box. So, let's get this guy opened up and take a closer look at him. Alright, so we've got Toxic Mutagen Man outside of the box here. So the figure itself is exactly the same sculpt as the previously released Mutagen Man. The only thing different going on here are the colors seen on here. And the big colors are definitely in the ooze, arms, and legs, which are a nice kind of deep, like bright green color instead of the yellow color that they originally were. And then the clear piece in the center there showing his guts on the inside is actually a bright pink this time around, where last time it was green. So those are our biggest differences in colors here. Otherwise, the overall figure is exactly the same. And I gotta say, I really love these colors. I know the other colors were a little more closely resembling the way he looked in the cartoon series, but these colors work so well for Mutagen Man. The bright green ooze arms especially just works, right? I mean, Mutagen is green in the show, so I totally get that. And the kind of purpley pink here on the translucent pieces is kind of a cool throwback to the vintage Mutagen Man figure, which wore a lot more purple. Now, I know the clear parts on the old figure were just a regular crystal clear and they weren't purple, but I like seeing some purple on Mutagen Man. So I guess the only thing I would say is, with all these repaints, it would have been kind of cool to see Playmates do some more vintage throwbacks. If they would have made this guy more purple and looking more like that vintage figure, I would have been cool with that. I think that would have been awesome, but I'm not going to complain about this. I think this looks really cool. I actually really like it. So if this is your first time seeing Mutagen Man, let me go ahead and run down some of the details about this guy. The articulation is a bit weird on him because of his shape, but still works out fine. You can see he does still have the same kind of ball joints at the shoulders. They're just in a weird place because of the way his arms are basically made of ooze coming out of this little containment system here in the center. But you can still move the arms outwards, forwards, and backwards, and then you can swivel the wrists here. He's got an open hand on this side. You cannot swivel the wrist on the other side, so the arm can really basically only move forwards and backwards on the right. Otherwise, the only other articulation we have is the hinges of the thighs, so the legs can go outwards, forwards, and backwards with no other movement there. So there's not a lot of ways you can pose this guy. He's not super articulated, and all of that is basically because of the style of this guy. Just the way they sculpted him, the articulation just doesn't work too well with him. But he still is a neat looking figure, and the thing that I love about him is he's got a lot of really cool action features, some of which really harken back to that vintage Mutagen Man. For example, we can actually open up the top by twisting and pulling, and check that out. You can actually remove his guts from the inside, which are this gross pink color, but look at all those great details. Now it's unpainted. It'd be cool if all of this was detailed, that'd be sweet, but still really neat little sculpt there. You can see his brain, all of his organs, and then his eyes, and he does have the pupils painted. Some of the early Mutagen Man figures just had solid white eyes, so this definitely looks a lot better. So what's really neat about being able to open this up, there's two different things you can do here, just like the vintage Mutagen Man. If you have some slime, you can fill this up with slime, and then you can stick the guts back inside, and then he's got ooze on the inside of him. Although doing that, it does completely cover up the sculpt of the guts and his eyes, and I don't really see how he can see. He'd probably trip and fall a lot with all that ooze in his face. So the other thing you can do, which is what I prefer to do, just like with my vintage Mutagen Man, is you can actually put some water in there. And then when you put the guts back inside with the water, it actually looks like he's floating around inside of some ooze type material, just like in the cartoon series. It's a very cool effect and really adds a next level look for this particular action figure. The other thing you can do is you can remove that open palmed hand. And you might notice that there are 4 little holes right there in the center of his palm. So if you can take some of that slime that you might already have, you could put some of the slime inside of that hand. And then when you press the hand back onto his arm, it actually squeezes the slime outside of the pores on the palm of his hand so that his hand is dripping with ooze, just like we saw him doing in the cartoon series. It's a really cool effect, and when you pair that up with the water inside, it makes for a very neat looking Mutagen Man action figure. Alright guys, it's comparison time. Let me go ahead and bring in that first release Mutagen Man figure that this one is based on. Again, the figure is exactly the same, but here you can see the difference in the colors that they used. So there you guys go. There is a look at the brand new Toxic Mutagen Man from Playmates Toys. Like I said, there is a whole series of repaints that are starting to hit store shelves right now, and I'm going to be taking a look at them. And while repaints are always a little weird, and some of the color choices are strange on the new figures, I really like Mutagen Man here. Sure, it would have been cool if he was colored like the vintage action figure, but I love those bright colors that they chose for this, and I kind of think I like this better than the first release. I do. I think the colors are great on this. So if you're a fan of Mutagen Man or you've never had this figure before, this is a great time to finally add him to your collection. He is hitting store shelves right now. He's been popping up at places like Toys R Us, Walmart, and even Target, I think. So happy hunting, my friends! Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think of the repaints, and don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, my friends.